man, that golf speaker post that we did was polarizing.
Oh, it's so
Got a guy
funny.
that wants
Say
to
the
bring a
least.
gun. A few other guys are really angry.
One of the guys quoted, was it Scarface or one of the mafia guys? And I'm gonna go in the night and kill him, and then burn the house down and piss on the ashes.
Guys do not like speakers on the golf course.
Over a golf speaker.
A golf speaker, yeah. It's
Some
so funny.
rage.
And a lot of them
Into
are
some
saying
rage.
like, oh, that you'd never see the PGA pros do it. Dude, they play at Scottsdale National where the crowd is going nuts and music playing, and like that's echoing
what?
throughout the whole round of your
So
of
really
your- on the
quickly,
course.
where do you, like 10 years from now, Tony, do you think that this will be, like the fact that this is a big deal, that we're like, man, people are pissed off that we're talking about, we're not even saying we're doing it, we're just talking about testing golf speakers on the course, and people are angry at us, right? So 10
Well-
years from now, do you think that this is even going to be a topic of conversation?
Well, I guess first it depends if it's still technically against USGA rules, right? Which is silly. Let's that's silly. But
No, the next demographic that comes up, the kid that's 20 now and
No.
becomes the golfer.
no, I think sort of people are growing up with mobile music now, and it's a part of, if I go anywhere around my house, a lot of times I'm taking a speaker with me if I'm doing yard work, whatever. And so there's no reason why that shouldn't extend to the golf course, as long as you're not disrupting everybody or anybody for that matter. And not for anything. Guess what, guys? Yeah, a lot of the pros when they're just out playing practice rounds or just out for fun doing whatever.
Yeah.
I played with Pat Perez earlier or late last year. He had a speaker with him. Guys, it's here.
Jordan
Well,
Spieth.
Pat Perez has a mullet, so I know he's got a speaker with him.
Pat Perez is badass.
I mean, Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas play golf on their off days shirtless and
Yeah, barefoot and
shoeless.
shirtless in the Bahamas.
So they can do what it. Give it a break.
That's definitely the bigger offense. Come on.
Yeah.
Touche.
I don't know. After I heard about Adam Levine playing at Parsons course with basically just, what was it, shorts? That's it?
Well, that's the rule at Bob's place, right?
That's what I thought. Then I tried to come out there with no shirt on, and he was like, put a shirt on. Put a PXG shirt on. Brother. All right. Well, next up is the SG Iron Test, which publishes this week.
Yep.
Correct? And
Yeah, published tomorrow.
SGI stands for what?
Super game improvement.
Who is that for?
Handicaps upwards of 10 and plus. Guys that are newer to golf, older guys that need to get the ball in the air. If you really struggle to hit the center of the golf club,
There we go. Bad ball strikers.
yeah, bad ball strikers, and you know who you are. Tony, raise your hand. But it's cool. We're seeing a few different things with this iron test, and as the years have progressed, I've kind of seen almost two iron categories in one with this, where you have, for instance, Callaway Big Bertha and Zexio X, for instance, are your traditional looking iron where.
All right, slow down for a second. So back up. So the Callaway Big Bertha and the SGI was more like for the people that remember in like the old X series Callaway irons, they're like that. The
big footprint, bigger face, a little bit of a wider sole, but still looks like an iron.
Right, so that's kind of like what an SGI iron always was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now
They're ultra forgiving. The soles are so wide, and they're designed to pretty much just get the ball up in the air and go relatively straight no matter where you hit it.
all right, so with our testers, broken down of guys that fit this category, right? What are we seeing? Which guys like which type of set, and which ones are helping other golfers, the one type of golfer do what?
Harry,
Yeah.
we were talking about this earlier. Most guys tend to prefer the higher handicap guys for sure tend to prefer that wider sole, helps it get in the air. I mean,
It brings back a good 10 yards for each club for every guy that comes on there. I mean, it launches at an angle where they can see a little bit of height, and it comes down a little bit more of a better descent angle, and that's benefiting them. But there's guys in our test that will prefer like the sleeker look, but still chunky compared to like a player's iron, obviously.
Yeah.
But it all
They
depends
still want
on,
it to look like a golf club that they recognize,
correct,
right?
and it is, and a lot of the times, if the higher handicaps think that they love a hybrid kind of look and the feel of a hybrid,
and it's funny too, the guys that get older and older, that your golf ego kind of sheds over time, and older guys are, I'll play whatever helps me get the ball in the air. You know, it's whatever helps them get the ball in the air and hit greens. And the one thing I want to make everyone aware of is if you're going to go get fit for Super Game Improvement Iron, and you're going to go get fit for iron in general, and you're going to try these out, don't fall in love with the distance. There's so many clubs in this test that are completely driven on distance, and you see that you're sacrificing launch angle. You're not going to hold greens. So these hybrid irons will kind of help you get the ball in the air, and you'll end up hitting more greens and having more fun just because you're actually holding the green.
Well, there's less benefit to an iron that you hit long that you can never stop, right?
Right.
So what we found...
Well, there is a component too, right? There is a speed component where we found something like the launcher or the Cobra F Max is sort of better suited for a slower swing speed Super Game Improvement, where something like I believe we have the Rogue X in this, right?
That's a good
where
point. Yeah.
if you have a higher swing speed and you can generate enough dynamic loft from what we sort of describe as jacked static loft, if you had the head speed to get that ball up in the air, that's generally the guy who fits into that profile of Super Game Improvement iron. So
yeah, I'll agree with Tony there.
If you have the head speed, then something like that, the head speed to overcome the lack of loft.
Just buyer
you have
beware,
something
though. I mean,
really
a few years we had the iron that was going the farthest also finished dead last in strokes gained scoring, you know? So it's not always about the distance, while we know that the golfer is going to remember that in a launch monitor bay when he's going to find his new set of irons.
Yeah.
You've got to start considering. There's so many factors about golf that aren't just distance, you know?
Yeah.
You got to start considering more than that.
Well, without sharing
what
too
we
much,
find is those longer ones, they go longer, but they also go disproportionately, slightly so, more offline. And there's some reasons with that, with the way loft works and things like that. So, I mean, it's a consideration, right? You're probably in most cases going to give up a little bit of accuracy, and over time that little bit of accuracy adds up. Eventually starts adding up in the form of higher numbers on the scorecard.
Yeah.
But strokes gain, SGI iron testing publishes
tomorrow.
So everyone out there that is in that category looking for a new set of irons, that thinks that is something that can help their game, look out tomorrow for the results. We kind of already know what those are, I think. And I
wish I could tell you now, but I can't.
I think there's going to be a couple surprises, but I think they deserved it, you know.
Yeah.
So other than that, coming up, I know a lot of people are asking what's next. So we have players' irons are next.
Yep. And then 3 woods shortly after.
3 woods.
Hybrids, and then utilities, wedges, and we're done.
Yep. And then on the soft goods side, we have what?
Electric push carts. Well, electric carts, you would say.
Right.
It's coming out on Thursday.
And that's an interesting category too. We just started testing it a couple of years ago, really, and it really wasn't a My Golf Spy Most Wanted test because there weren't enough different companies. But what's interesting is there has a newcomer that has basically created 2 different parts of electric push carts. So what are those 2?
I mean, you got your standard electric cart where you have to have the whole unit.
The one that like follows you with the remote.
Yeah, I mean, you got so many different features now. You got ones that follow you from Stuart Golf. You have ones that tell you how far you've walked around the course, which is good if you're one of those guys that wants to know, or girls. You have ones that have just remote controls where you can walk ahead and it comes behind, or vice versa.
And then the other category, which I think is really cool.
Correct.
And not nearly as expensive, is what is it?
It's called E-Wheels Club Booster.
So that's if anybody just owns a push cart already, doesn't want to have to replace it with an electrical one, you can just buy this thing.
Yeah, and
does it work with any push cart?
Pretty much. There's a huge array of them. I mean, you got your major brands. You got Bag Boy, Click Gear. I think Tour Track was one of them, just one model of it. But there's so many of them out there that you can just clip it on. So basically, where you have the wheels, you have like a device.
The back wheels.
Back wheels, yeah, correct. Where you clip it on, and then in the E-Wheels you have just a separate set of clips, which are like clamps, and they clamp onto the E-Wheels cart. So they just replace the wheels.
Turns any push cart into an electric cart.
Wow.
And price-wise difference, what's the average price for the full-blown one and then the E-Wheels?
If you take the big ones and the smaller ones into account, you're looking about $1,500-ish.
And then for E-Wheels?
$600.
So look, if you already own a $200 push cart, and you don't want to invest $1,500, and the eWheels does pretty damn well.
At the end of the day, if you want just to get around and not push it, and you have a remote control, you get eWheels every time, in my opinion.
So when does the test publish for that?
Thursday.
This Thursday. So for those of you that are interested in that, take a look for Thursday and see which ones came out on top. And that's most wanted Monday for No Putts Given today.